In August this year, the IOM highlighted the dramatic increase in young Nigerians being trafficked to Italy. 5,204 Nigerian women arrived between January the 1st and October the 31st, representing 45% of the total number arriving in Italy by sea, and the girls are getting younger and younger.
We have seen that there is an increasing number of minors coming from Nigeria among these girls. Their age is about between 15 and 19 years old last year.
According to aid workers, most of the girls arrive from Benin City in Nigeria and say they have been through a voodoo ceremony known as juju, a black magic ritual to threaten them into obeying their exploiters and to save their families. Almost all of the victims arrive in Italy with a phone number of a Nigerian connection who usually comes to pick them up at the migrant centers and takes them off to work on the streets.
Some of these girls, for example, are so young that they do not even know what sex is. So when we tell them that there's a risk they can be exploited sexually, they don't really know what we are talking about.
The girls are informed that they have to pay back a debt of between 20,000 and 50,000 euros to those who helped them cross into Italy, while earning 10 to 30 euros for each sexual act.
Some of them, they understand they are going to be prostitutes during the journey because they are sold during the journey, especially in Libya. But sometimes when they arrive here, they think that they are going to work as a hairdresser, for example. But they don't pay anything for the journey, so they have to repay their debt.
Blessing Okoedion was a victim, sold into prostitution. After her escape, she shared her experience in the book, The Courage of Liberty.
He told me that I'm indebted to him, that I have to pay him 65,000 euros. I asked, I was expected to have a salary. How come I'm to pay you 65,000 euros? He wasn't concerned about it. His face changed. Then he came into my understanding that I fall into the hands of traffickers.
The girls spend months in camps, detention centers and connection houses where they are often raped and abused before heading to Italy. So far this year, various aid groups have been able to save just over 250 young women. However, it's difficult to break the link between the girls and the traffickers.
According to our anti-trafficking specialists, 80% of Nigerian girls arriving by sea to Italy are potential victims of trafficking for sexual exploitation.
The plight of Nigerian women and girls will be discussed in the Italian parliament, marking the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Beryl Oro, CGTN.
Meanwhile, at least 31 migrants died after their boat sank off Libya's western coast on Saturday, and some 200 others were picked up by the Coast Guard and brought back to port in Tripoli. The migrants were on two boats off the coast near Garibaldi, east of Tripoli, one of which had already sunk when the Coast Guard arrived at the scene. Another 140 migrants were picked up from a second boat. The dead, including a number of children, were brought back to Tripoli Naval Base. Libya is the main departure point for mostly African migrants trying to cross to Europe. Nearly 3,000 migrants are known to have died or are missing after trying to cross to Europe by sea this year.
Today, we rescued around 200 people who were on two rubber dinghies. The first dinghy had capsized. It had sunk before we reached it. The Sabratha Coast Guard went out to sea after hearing distress signals, and when they got there, they found a group of people hanging onto the remainder of the dinghy. But the rest had died. They had spread out while the dinghy was sinking. Around 60 people were rescued from this dinghy that had sunk, and the bodies of 31 others were picked up.
Italian Prime Minister Paolo Gentiloni has met with Tunisia's President and Prime Minister in Tunis as part of an official two-day visit to the country. Gentiloni and Tunisian Prime Minister Youssef Chahed emphasized bilateral cooperation on Libya during a joint press briefing. A political stalemate in Libya has divided the country into competing governments with two parliaments and an array of rival militias. The North African country's divisions have empowered hundreds of militias to become the real power on the ground, where human trafficking, fuel smuggling and terrorists also thrive.
There is a need to intensify efforts between the two countries to enhance security and stability in the region, especially in Libya, and to stress the importance of regular consultation and close coordination between the two countries.
Security in Libya is an important issue for the two countries, Tunisia and Italy. We must intensify cooperation on this issue, which is directly related to illegal immigration and terrorism.